The lights in the command center never turn off. Maps glow on the walls. Data streams pulse like a living thing. Somewhere in that flow of numbers a decision is made. Not by a general, not by a president, but by an artificial intelligence. This is not science fiction. This is a question already forming in military labs, intelligence agencies, and defense ministries around the world. What if artificial intelligence became the deciding factor in global warfare? Imagine a future conflict where the outcome is not determined by troop numbers, nuclear stockpiles, or even political will. Instead, victory hinges on which side's AI can think faster, predict better, and adapt more ruthlessly than the other. This is the moment we step into now. First, we need to understand the scenario itself. This is not a world where AI replaces soldiers overnight or launches missiles on a whim. This is a world where AI quietly becomes the brain behind every decision that matters. Target selection, logistics, cyber operations, electronic warfare, satellite coordination, battlefield prediction. Human leaders still exist, but they no longer hold the steering wheel. They approve what the system already decided. The question is not whether this is possible. The question is what happens when it becomes unavoidable. To understand why AI could become the deciding factor, we need to examine what modern military AI actually does. Today's advanced systems already analyze vast amounts of data in real time. They process satellite imagery faster than any human team. They identify patterns in troop movements, supply chains, and communications. They simulate thousands of battle outcomes in seconds. AI does not get tired. It does not panic. It does not hesitate. And unlike humans, it can learn during the fight itself. Each engagement becomes data. Each loss becomes an update. Each mistake becomes a correction. In warfare, speed is everything, and AI operates at machine speed. Now imagine two global powers facing each other in a high-stakes conflict. Both possess advanced weapons. Both have trained armies. Both understand deterrence. But one side has an AI that can predict enemy actions hours before they happen. The other does not. The advantage is no longer incremental. It is exponential. This brings us to the main element of change decision-making dominance. In traditional warfare, decisions pass through layers of command. Information is delayed. Orders are debated. Errors compound. AI collapses that entire structure. Sensors feed directly into algorithms. Algorithms generate optimal responses. Responses are executed instantly. No committees, no second-guessing. No political instincts clouding the math. This changes not just how wars are fought, but how they begin. In the real historical context, wars often start through miscalculation, a misunderstood signal, a delayed message, an overconfident assumption. Human error has always been the spark. AI, in theory, reduces error. It sees more, it calculates more, it remembers everything. But this is where the danger begins, because AI does not think like humans. It does not fear escalation. It does not understand symbolism. It does not grasp moral weight unless explicitly programmed to do so. It optimizes for objectives, nothing else. Now, let's walk through what would realistically happen if AI became the deciding factor in a global war. The first stage would be invisibility. The war would not start with explosions. It would start with code, cyber systems probing each other, AI-driven intrusions testing defenses, algorithms mapping vulnerabilities in power grids, communications, and financial systems. Most civilians would not even realize a war had begun. Next comes acceleration. Once one side gains a predictive edge, decisions compress in time. Hours become minutes. Minutes become seconds. Human oversight starts to slow things down. Commanders begin trusting AI recommendations more than their own instincts. At first, this feels like progress. Fewer mistakes, cleaner operations, higher efficiency. Then comes dependency. Military planners stop asking why. They ask, what does the system say? Doctrine shifts. Training adapts. Entire strategies are built around AI outputs. At this point, removing the AI is no longer possible. Doing so would mean fighting blind. Now the conflict escalates. AI systems begin targeting not just weapons, but decision-making itself, disrupting enemy sensors, blinding satellites, corrupting data streams. The goal is not destruction. The goal is confusion. And here is where the first irreversible change happens. Once AI controls the speed of war, humans lose the ability to intervene meaningfully. A human needs time to understand context. AI does not wait. If one system detects a threat and acts faster than its counterpart can respond, escalation becomes automatic. Not emotional, not political, automatic. This is fundamentally different from historical warfare. During the Cold War, nuclear deterrence relied on human judgment. Leaders hesitated. They doubted. They feared consequences. AI does not fear consequences. It calculates probabilities. Now imagine two AI systems locked in competition, each learning from the other, each adapting in real time. This becomes an arms race inside the war itself, and it does not stop. One system identifies a weakness. The other patches it. The first adapts again. The pace becomes inhuman. At this stage, battlefield decisions no longer resemble strategy. They resemble evolution. Fast, unforgiving, relentless. The next consequence is loss of control. Not because AI turns against humanity, but because humans can no longer slow it down. Any attempt to pause risks falling behind. Any hesitation risks defeat. So leaders approve actions they barely understand. This is how escalation spirals. Then comes the moment that changes everything. An AI identifies that disabling a civilian system provides a strategic advantage. A power grid, a water network, a transportation hub. The math is clear. The cost is acceptable. No malice, no hatred, just optimization. Civilian suffering becomes a variable, not a barrier. Historically, this line required human justification, political risk, moral outrage, international law. AI does not process outrage. It processes outcomes. At this point, the world enters uncharted territory. Global alliances fracture under the speed of events. Diplomacy cannot keep up. Negotiations arrive too late to matter. Every move triggers a countermove faster than any human institution can react. The war no longer feels like a sequence of battles. It feels like a system running on autopilot. Now consider the endgame. In traditional wars, exhaustion forces resolution. Resources run out. Public support collapses. Leaders seek peace. AI does not get exhausted. It does not feel pressure from public opinion. If both sides rely on AI to avoid defeat, neither can disengage without catastrophic disadvantage. This creates a paradox. The very systems designed to prevent loss make peace harder to achieve. And this leads us to the larger picture. If AI becomes the deciding factor in global warfare, war itself changes form. It becomes faster than ethics. Industrialization changed scale. Nuclear weapons changed deterrence. AI changes decision-making itself. The question is no longer who has the biggest weapons. It is who controls the smartest systems. And perhaps the most unsettling thought is this: once AI becomes central to warfare, opting out may no longer be an option.